We are now in the process of building this aquaponics system. Today I went and bought my IBC totes. We're going to have 6 grow beds, 2 fish tanks, and then I'm going to use the other tanks for some other things as well. What I want to do is just talk about preparation. We have to prepare the grow beds and everything first. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the framework around these IBC totes. So to make the grow beds, we need the IBC tote, the top of it 14 inches, and then you fill it up with media like rock or lava rock or whatever you choose to do. You fill it up 12 inches. So what I've measured, you know, there's different sizes of IBC totes, so you got to kind of plan this out. Since we're going to make 6 grow beds, we're going to use 3 of these IBC totes to make the grow beds. So if I measure from here to here, it's an exact, I can't remember exactly, it was like 12 inches. So I'm going to cut right here, and then we'll have, you know, roughly about 2 inches beyond that, and we're going to flip this upside down. So what I've done is I was thinking about using a Sawzall, but it just seemed like it was a little bit more cumbersome. So what I did is I went and purchased some bolt cutters, and I did some tests on another one. And if you just get a nice clean cut here, it really works out really nice. As you can see, bring the camera up. As you can see, it cuts really nice, and you don't have to worry about the actual Sawzall. So it's a really nice cut. It makes it easy, makes it fast, and you don't have to worry about cutting the plastic either. Because obviously, you don't want to cut the plastic. Okay, in the previous video, we talked about removing the center section of this IBC tote framework, because what we're going to do is we're going to make an actual grow bed out of this section and out of this section, and we're going to eliminate the center. So as I showed you, I used a bolt cutters to cut this. I have a Sawzall. It would work, but you'd have to be consciously concerned about always cutting the plastic. The bolt cutters was a great investment. It was easy, and we were able to get this done quite quickly. So I cut out the center of the IBC tote. Now what I've done is I took a straight edge and brought it out over and measured down. And so I want my grow bed to be 14 inches tall. Okay, as you guys can see, that we have now cut all tops and bottoms. They are roughly 14 inches high. So now the thing that we're going to do now is take all these, wash them out with soap. The key is obviously, if you get used IBC totes, you have to make sure that whatever product they had in there was non-toxic over here. So everything's been washed with soap, cleaned out, rinsed, and now we're ready to go ahead and start putting everything together. And then we'll talk more about how the plumbing and everything goes together. Okay, now that we've washed all the tanks, it's time to go ahead and put everything in place. One thing that I want to caution everybody is you have to methodically think this out, because if you don't, you're just going to throw some tanks in, and then you're going to decide that's not where you wanted it. Before we even got to this place, we actually put everything setting on the ground, positioned it, we looked at it, we analyzed it, and we even had to shift and move it. We put stakes in the ground, ran string and everything to make sure that everything's in place where we wanted it. So now that you can see that we determined where everything's going to be, we've actually put everything on a foundation now. So as you can see, these are the grow beds. I put all the bottoms of the IBC totes in one row, and then I put all the tops in another row. It doesn't look like it, but they are the same depth. It's just because of the bottom of the IBC tote. When you're dealing with the top of the IBC tote and you cut that and you flip it over to make a grow bed out of it, obviously you've got to make sure that you seal these caps really well. What I do is I use some Teflon tape. I put that around the threads there. And then there is a rubber gasket inside this cap right here, and then you have this middle cap as well, so I Teflon tape around that. But also this is actually a vent, so make sure you score some like 100% silicone in there as well. So installing the bell siphons, And so as you can see, here is a bulkhead connector. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting them in the corner. I'm doing this strategically, the way I'm going to design this, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Some people, you know, like to put their siphons like in the center and so forth, but obviously we're dealing with other issues as well. So I'm really comfortable about putting my bell siphons over here. So if you saw a bulk connector there, this right here is a 3/4 inch pipe, and I've got it measured to the top, from the floor to the top, 11 inches. So that gives me 1 inch in my grow bed as far as the dry area, and then from the floor to the top of the edge here, this is 14 inches, so I should have another 2 inches of nothing there. So this should work out really good. Here's a siphon right here. As you can see, I used a 4-inch pipe. I cut a series of lines in here. I watched a video how it's nice to have these lines, so when you get roots in there, you can just simply twist that, and because of the lines, it'll actually cut the roots. So like I said, I just cut a series of lines with my chop saw. Here's a cap. I drilled a hole in the top of the cap. So there's that right there. And then what I did is I watched a gentleman that he is incorporating a cap at the bottom, and then what happens is because of as the water comes up and down, this will help stop the siphon a little bit better. So he feels like this is a better design. Now the methodology behind all this is, obviously this is your water line, water height right here. I've gone 11 inches from the bottom on up, and then 1 inch grow bed material above that, so that'll be dry to avoid any algae growing in your bed and so forth. So this is a 3/4 inch pipe here. A lot of people talk about you don't have to seal anything or anything like that, but I did do that, meaning seal like put Teflon tape, things like that. I did myself. I just like doing things like that, so put a little bit of extra work in that. And then they say that you should double. So this is 3/4 inch, so this is 1.5 inch pipe. So if you do 1 inch pipe, you should do a 2-inch pipe. So you just double what you use as far as for your standpipe. So this is 1.5 inch material. This is a bell cap. So basically, as I set this down, the top of this pipe comes to the very bottom of this right here. Then as you can see, I put in an elbow. I drilled a hole, put an elbow in here, and then put a line. Now, be careful about the tubing you buy. This is going to work, but it's a tubing that if you unroll it, it's still curly, so it's not straight. So I had to actually heat that up to try to straighten it out as best as I can. Now, the reason why I put this piece of wood in here is I wanted to space it off enough so then this cap can freely float up and down. Now, you don't want your tube so short that this cap can just float away or come away. So you want your tube long enough to where it goes down inside that cap. So this is set up now, and then also too, at the bottom here, I cut a series of slots as well. The way this is sitting on top of that, a lot of people put notches, but I continue the ring around the bottom so I would not get this to fall off the edge or something like that. So there's my bell siphon, and then like I said, here's a sleeve that goes over that. You want to put that right on the edge there, so then that cap can move freely up and down. And then when you put your grow bed media around this, this is obviously going to tighten in place, be nice and firm. And then you just want to periodically check all your siphons, making sure that they're running good. Now I'm going to focus on connecting all the drains. And what you want to do is obviously find your point where you're going to drain to. So, and then you want to slope. So what I did is I did a 1/4 inch drop from each bell siphon, and then I'll do another 1/4 inch drop out here, and then I'm going to drain everything this way. So you just want to make sure that you have a nice slope on all your drainage. Thanks a lot. Okay, now what I want to do is walk you through the plumbing process. We're completely done with all the plumbing. So if you could come over here and look at this. This is my sump pit. This is where all the water will be collected into this sump pit. And so as you can see, I got my pump down there. It's a 1,026 gallon pump. and it's pumping the water up into the fish tanks. Now, right now, I'm only going to be using one fish tank at the time, but I've got this set up to be able to use 2 fish tanks as later on in the future. Now, that will probably require me to incorporate some more grow beds, because obviously those are your biofilters to clean the water for the fish. But right now I'm just going to use one. As you can see, I've got shutoffs right here, so I can actually shut off one side and then use the other, or I can actually shut off both. But and then down here I've drilled series of holes, so it will actually spray down into the water and cause kind of a natural aeration process for the fish. Now, I am going to aerate as well, because you can never get enough oxygen. Oxygen is great for the fish, so I am actually going to use aeration as well. So I've got like a little commercial grade aerator that I will be utilizing in here as well. Now, one thing I want to show over here too, and I'll show you the other end. In Honduras, we get a lot of rain. So what I did is I have an overflow right here. So if it rains into the system, that's great. But it will overflow into this sump pit, and then it will actually run down this tube, and then that tube just gets drained out underneath the grow bed. So you know, just kind of preventing any potential issue that may occur with downpours. We get just massive downpours here in Honduras. Okay, now so now that we've got the water in the fish tanks, over here, as you can see, I tied in at the bottom of the actual fish tanks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a tube in on the other side. It's going to be perforated. It's going to have a series of holes. So the pressure of the water is not only going to push the pressure or the water into these pipes, but also it will push the solid waste as well. So that's why I put the actual drainage at the bottom. Now, here, please forgive me, it's not very straight. As you can see, I draw and glue as my black lines, but somewhere I didn't line it up perfectly. So, but the reason why I did this is because this right here dictates the level of water in this tank right here. So if you get a system that just shuts down, you've got to have it in such a way where that water will not drain out. So if the system shuts down, my water level in my fish tanks will never ever go down below this. So that's kind of like your safety net right there. Now, one thing that I'm going to do is I have a backup battery system for my aeration, but as far as my water pumps, I do not have a backup battery system for that as far as to pump the water through the system, but I do have a backup system for my aeration. Now, over here, and I'll explain this in a minute. I'll come back to that. But over here is my solids collector. You know, initially you're going to want some solids going into your grow beds, and that's something you want to monitor and manage, because obviously that will help mature your grow beds. So I'm not going to really get very crazy on this, but I want to show them inside here. I'm not going to get crazy on it yet. I'm going to just kind of let it be. I'm going to let the solids go into the grow beds as they can. But as you see, I've got a swirl filter in here where the water will enter in and it will actually swirl in, and then the solids can fall to the bottom. But if some solids come up into the grow beds, that is okay right now. Now then, I've got it obviously draining into the grow beds now. Now, the thing of it is and I'm sure many of you know this, you want a slope on all your piping. So that's why this grow bed, everything was set up exactly the way it is. So everything has a slope. So this has a 1/4 inch slope drop as it goes down. Now, over here, I just kind of put like a potential clean out so I can examine. If I feel like I'm getting any clogs or anything like that, I can actually pull that pipe off and look down this down the system. Now, I do glue my system together. A lot of people say they don't use glue, but I do. I glued everything together. Now, as you can see, I put spigots here, so the water's going to come out here, and then water's going to drain over here. You don't want like the water dispensing here and your drains here. Then you won't get a constant, consistent flow over there. So I put in a diagonal fashion, so the whole entire grow bed is going to get movement of water. So as you can see, every grow bed has water being dispensed down it. I put valves on every one of them because I want to be able to adjust and watch how the grow beds go fill up and how they dispense, and I want to do that evenly, so I'll be able to adjust those valves as needed. So, and then as you can see underneath here, you know, everything slopes properly underneath the grow bed, so you can see all my plumbing and piping under there. Now under my my bell siphons, they say that you want an extension pipe at least 12 inches to 24 inches. That gives it a nice good suction, and so it can actually siphon out of the grow bed. So it's not recommended to just immediately drop it out of the grow bed. You want an extension tube, so that's the way I designed that. And then, like I said, everything has a 1/4 inch slope, so it's going to slope all back to the sump. Now, before we go back over the sump, I want to show you here. What I did is the overflow will drain out, so it's not going to drain out like around where I walk and stuff, but it's going to drain out right here if there's a huge overflow. Then also I have a valve over here for maintenance. If I feel like I got too much solids developing inside my containers, then what I can do is I actually can shut this off over here, and then I actually can turn it on there, and I can actually drain my tanks if I have to, and I can clean them. So, and then as you can see, it pipes back over here, back into the sump pit, and then it just gets processed right back into the fish tanks, and then goes back into the grow bed. Okay, well, obviously a lot of things have happened since I've recorded last. I apologize, but I'm going to walk you through some things here. As far as where we're at now and how we got here. So just wanted to talk to you some things. As far as the system itself, you know, you saw it last one as white, and I plumbed everything. One thing that you're going to learn, that you may not always do everything right exactly the first time, so as time goes by, you're going to have to tweak the system. So I wanted to show you something over here. I showed you in the video of this right here, and this would set the height of the water in the tanks, which it does, but I had a loop, and what that was a natural siphon, so when the power goes off, it would continually drain the fish tanks because of the siphon effect, and then go into the grow beds and eventually flood my sump pit, and then the fish tank water would go down severely. So this right here, by setting it like this and putting it like a vent right here, as soon as the water goes off, reaches a certain level, it actually shuts off probably about right here as far as the water level. So that's a tweak that I've made since making the last video. So don't be shy. You know, you put a lot of work into this, and then you find out that something's not working quite right. Don't be shy in making a fix. Don't be shy in retweaking, retuning, because I think you're going to continually do that. And then, as you can see back here, I kind of added another feature to the system, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. The other thing too is once we put the grow media into the system, again, we deal with a lot of rain here. I saw some sinking in some of the grow beds because obviously the cinder blocks were sinking down into the ground. And over here, you can see where the system has sunk. And the water level is supposed to be 1 inch to 2 inches below the top of the surface here. As you can see, it's sunk down, and now the water level is right there. That's got to get repaired. Now I've shored it up once, but we've got to actually do a little bit more work. So you're going to have some settling, and you're going to have to deal with those settling issues. So just be prepared for that. The only other thing that I thought I could have done is maybe actually poured concrete piers. But again, you know, obviously if it's not your property or something like that, or you don't know if you want this permanently in your yard, you know, you don't know if you want to pour concrete piers. So that's another thing that you're going to have to deal with as far as the settling. So now as you can see here, I've got grow media in here. We got this is just river rock. We got this. The thing you want to do is test it first. What you do is you just put a series of rock in some containers and pour vinegar into it. It doesn't matter, it's just as long as it's vinegar. And if you see any severely fizzling, then you've got some media that's not going to work with your system. Because what that does is it will drive the pH up too high to where it will affect your system, and then obviously your plants and stuff can be affected. So what I did is I tested this over and over, and I got a little bit of fizzle on a few rocks, but as a whole I did not get any fizzle. So again, it's just river rock. We sorted it, and if you want to show this, we sorted, as you can see, we got various sizes. You don't want to get too small, because what happens is it gets too compacted, and you don't want to get too big, obviously, either, because and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute, but you want it to where your worms can actually get through the media easily. So like I said, you don't want too big, and you definitely do not want too small of a rock. And then as far as the bell siphons, I just want to show you this. These are working great. I showed you more detail about the bell siphons before, but this is working great. Your goal is that your grow bed will flood and drain every 45 minutes. And what this does is it permits the system to get the water off the roots, suck oxygen down into it, so that's good for your worms, but also that's good for the system, because you're inducing oxygen, and then your water comes back up. So so all my system right here is on bell siphons. So every grow bed is filling back up and then draining within about 45 minutes. So that's another thing that you want to do. As far as the painting here, the mistake that I made was I painted these within the actual metal brackets. You could easily take these out. If I had to redo this whole entire thing, I would have took them all out and I would have painted them and then set them back in, because it was not fun trying to paint all this. I would highly suggest, before you put your system together, take your plastic out or paint your stuff first and then assemble it, because I just think it would have been a lot faster than trying to paint it while I was in place, when all the plumbing was already fixed in place. Now, I talked about we were going to grow oregano, and I changed my product that I'm going to grow. I'm actually growing now yerba buena down here in Honduras. It's a mint that's used in a lot of their dishes and so forth. And I found out in the marketplace that they don't get it as readily available as they wish. So I basically got yerba buena to put in the system. We actually went into the mountains. There's people up there that grow it, and we got a bunch of yerba buena from them, and then we basically transplanted it back into here. And as you can see, it's doing wonderful. I've had some insects issues with the yerba buena. I've had a lot of caterpillars on there, so we've been going through this system, and we've just been looking for caterpillar poop, and we've been that obviously identifies that there's caterpillars in the area, and we've been picking the caterpillars off. Now I'll talk to you about insect prevention here in a minute, but as of right now, I'm doing really good on insects. We did put some watercress on this side. I just got attacked endlessly by silkworms, and I just felt like it wasn't worth the battle. It's not a product that I have to have, so I just went with everything as far as mint. There's a lot of insects that don't like the smell of mint, so I don't feel like I have to battle as much as maybe some other people on insects. So that's where we're at. It's growing really good. Now, as far as nutrients, your system is not going to get, how do I want to say, in the full effect for about 6 to 8 months. So nutrients can be an issue. Now, there is a store in the United States that I'm consulting with. It's True Aquaponics store, and I put the link in the YouTube description, and also I'm going to show it up right there. I highly you get a hold of Roger Loper. He's an incredible guy. He's really helped me. I've taken some photos of my plants and shown him everything, and then he recommends what I need, and then obviously he sells the product. So please don't take advantage of him and say, hey, what's my problem, and then you go try to find it yourself. Please utilize Roger. He's a great guy, and he will really work hard for you. So I've got nutrients coming next week, so I'm really excited about that. But in the meantime, what I've done is I've used seaweed. It's maxi crop. I've used seaweed. I put eggshells under these water spigots, and then also I've used chelated iron. Now, according to Roger, you have to be careful about chelated iron, so I was actually using chelated iron that could affect my fish. So I've got new chelated iron coming. So just by doing that, like I said, the chelated iron, the seaweed, and then the eggshells, my leaves have greened up really nice. And I'm getting a lot of growth. I've added the fish to the system, so I'm starting to get a lot of growth. I'm very, very happy with what I've seen so far, especially with a system that's only been running maybe about a month. So I'm very happy about that, but I really believe in my heart that we're going to see some really awesome growth once we start getting the right nutrients into it. He's talked to me about some potassium and some other products, but he has all kinds of products and he can help you do what you need to do. Now also too, we got worms coming. You know, it's not like the United States where you can go to the local store and buy worms. So we got worms coming from a university in another area of the country, and so I'm going to put the worms in here. The worms are incredible for the system as well. They do a lot of activity. You could do some research on that. So obviously once the worms get here, we get more fish into the system, we get the nutrients. We're going to see this thing really take off. Also too, we've got insect stuff, natural ways to rid of the insects, and you definitely want to research. There's a lot of great videos on that as well. You do not want to use any type of chemical on this unless it's absolutely safe for aquaponics and your fish. You have to always be protecting your fish and guarding over your fish. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the duckweed system here. What I initially was going to do is I was going to put duckweed in my sump pit. And so I put the duckweed in there, and because your sump pit goes up and down, it was not a good thing, because what happened was duckweed would stay on the wall, so I had like 6 inches of duckweed all the way around. And then what was happening is some of the roots were floating to the bottom around the pump and clogging the pump up. So immediately I took another IBC tote and I set this system up to where I have a little bit of water. You want to take a shot there. A little bit of water trickling in. Duckweed does not like a lot of motion meaning, and so I put a little bit of trickle of water there, and then what I do is I went over here, I put a bulkhead connector at the bottom, and then I surrounded it with like a 3 or 4 inch pipe there so the duckweed won't clog that up, and that's just draining back down into the sump pit right here. So this duckweed obviously is an incredible food source for the fish, and that's what I use it for. I actually have an aquaculture system as well, so I use this to feed my fish in my aquaculture system, and then I use it to feed my fish in the tank. And at first, you know, the fish that I had, they were used to just, you know, fish food that you buy at the store, and so they didn't take to the duckweed right away, but now I mix it with the fish food and they eat it up. So it's a great source for your fish as far as nutrients, and also it cuts down on the cost of your fish food. What's really neat about duckweed is the initial duckweed I got barely even covered this area. Within 3 days, this thing was completely full. And then what I noticed is it was getting real thick. And so now what I don't feed to the fish, periodically I come in here and actually scoop it out, kind of spread it out evenly, you know, thin it out, and then have to obviously dispose of some of that duckweed because it's growing so fast. Now, the duckweed does not like direct light. Here in Honduras, we really we don't have the same as far as the sun and maybe the United States. So you have to be really careful about direct light. So you know, this is because of the roof of our home, and then because of these trees, this duckweed does not get tons of light all throughout the whole day. Sometimes duckweed does not like direct light, so just be careful there. Now, since we're talking about duckweed, let's talk about feeding the fish. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm growing moringa trees here. You know, it just depends on where you're at in the world. You know, you can grow moringa, you know, in the more northern states of the United States because of the winters, it could be an issue. But I'm growing moringa trees here because this is another great food source for fish. I've been slowly introducing these moringa leaves to the fish. What I do is I just take a little bit of leaves and just lay them on the water during the time I feed them, and I'm watching fish actually eat them. So moringa is an absolutely incredible tree product to feed your fish. Now, one thing that you're going to deal with is mosquitoes. We deal with mosquitoes quite a bit here. And so you want to make sure that any standing water is covered, because if it's not covered, what's going to happen is you're going to have mosquitoes plant eggs in there, and then you're going to have a lot of mosquitoes in your home. So what I did is I just took this area, this is my swirl filter, I've covered this up and I check it periodically, and then obviously I clean the fish solids out of the bottom periodically as well. But I covered this up, and now, you know, we're not having as many mosquito issues. Mosquitoes, obviously, if they want to plant eggs in there, they can all day long. The fish is going to eat the eggs, so that's not going to be a problem. And then, you know, like in here in these siphon filters, you know, they could plant eggs in there. That could be a problem. But because of the moving water, it probably won't be an issue, because probably the eggs would just get sucked up into the drainage system. And then as far as in the duckweed, I'm kind of experimenting with something here. You know, you can't cover this up. So what I did is I found online is just to put some fish in there. So I got one little baby fish in there. I actually had two. I don't know if I had an oxygen problem or not, because one of them actually died. So I got one baby fish in there. And then in my sump pit, I got two baby fish in there. So I feed them periodically. So my sump pit, my duckweed bed, I have fish in there to eat any mosquito eggs and mosquitoes that are in there. Now, okay, now earthworms. Again, you know, I know I talked about it a little bit. Do some research on Google. You can find things on how to introduce worms into your grow bed. But it's very, very, very important that you put worms in your grow bed. You know, just regular earthworms, and they'll do a marvelous work in your grow bed. They're going to break things down. The fish poop. They're going to do a lot of things like clean up the roots, and they're going to you know, just break down a lot of things that need to be broke down. As you can see, I don't know all the technical terms. Just to be honest with you, I'm learning just like you're learning on this as well. As far as nutrients, again, we covered that. The True Aquaponics store is a great source for your nutrients. And then he'll even tell you the dosages and everything. Just a wonderful gentleman to work with. And I love how he just follows up quickly. He gets back with you. He's a really good guy. He works through emails. He really doesn't want anybody calling him, because he's actually, I believe he's you know, has a large aquaponics system, so you know he has a business there as well. But he'll respond to your emails like immediately. Now, as far as the fish, I'm kind of growing my aquaculture system, and so I had some initial fish out of that system. And so what I did is they were supposed to be my breeder colonies to develop more fish. So they weren't working out quite well. So what I did is I put them in here. Right now, I've only got probably about 9 fish. 9 to 10 fish in this system. Now, obviously, I'm going to add more. I've got fish that I'm developing that I'm going to add more into this system. Now, you know, the rule is like 1 fish per 3 gallons. That's really pushing it. But the general rule, a good safe rule, is 1 fish per 5 gallons. So I've got like roughly 550 gallons here. So obviously, just do the math on that, 5 gallons per fish. It's like 110 fish I could put in here. And then obviously there's calculations for the grow bed size, you know, compared to your fish. Now obviously there's a balancing act. You have to you know, test your water and watch your ammonia levels, your nitrites and nitrates. You have to watch all that, and then your pH. So just be careful on that, but there's a lot of information on the ratios of your grow beds to your actual water tanks. One gentleman told me that it's 40 pounds per fish per 16 square foot of grow beds. I calculated that was about right compared to another book, and it's a little bit more of a different calculation, but just, you know, there's a lot of information on there on how many grow beds you need and compared to your fish. And the other thing too is don't, you know, be careful. You know, if you're just starting out, don't try to push it. Don't try to double the amount of fish in here. All you're going to do is just cause heartache. It's better to follow the ratios that they tell you, and then as time goes by, if you want to get a little bit more bolder to push it, then push it. You know, right now I'm looking at maybe expanding my grow beds, but again, I'm not going to do that until this system matures, until I got full-blown amount of fish in here that I'm going to put in here. And then testing water. Right now, you know, this system hasn't even cycled at all. And what I mean by that is your ammonia levels rise, and then your grow beds begin to develop to where they can develop the proper bacteria to combat the ammonia. And then I believe, and again, please forgive me, sometimes I get this mixed up, but I believe what happens is then the bacteria converts it to nitrates, and then it converts to nitrites. I believe I may have that backwards, but I apologize. But right now, I don't even have ammonia in the system. I mean, I've tested it. The pH is 7.6. Everything else is 0. So I haven't even cycled the system yet. So in time, like I said, about 6 to 8 months, this whole system will cycle. But you do want to check your water. You do want to test your water. I use the API Master Test Kit. You can get that at your pet store, and it has all the testing that you need. So I test that, and again, right now it's not something to be worried about or concerned about. I mean, maybe once every 2 weeks to test it, because like I said, I don't even have all my fish in here. So, but later on, you definitely will want to be testing and watching your system. So that's pretty much it. You know, obviously, again, I said earlier, I'm just learning this just like you are. So, you know, later on, I'm going to learn more. I'm learning about developing worm castings and developing, you know, worm colony and so forth, you know, to add more worms into the system and just all kinds of things. So you just always want to be searching YouTube, always want to be learning, always want to be watching more videos. You can most certainly ask me any questions. If I can't answer it, I'll help you try to find the right information. I would be glad to help you. I love to help people. So in the YouTube video, just ask me a question. If you have any questions about my system. But like I said, right now it's been running probably about 2 months, probably max. And I can really see a lot of improvements, a lot of changes. And you know, next week I'm going to start really working on the insects. You know, again, I don't have a lot of insects. It's the caterpillars. I've got a product coming that's going to help me with the caterpillars. There's a lot of great videos on how to develop insect prevention, safe insect prevention that's for the plants and for the fish. And then, like I said, I'm going to introduce some nutrients into the system next week. So I believe in my heart we're going to see these plants really go well. And as you can see, like this plant right here was that size, and now it's starting to spread throughout the whole rock. And again, this is peppermint or a mint, and so you know, we're going to be harvesting the leaves, so we have to have a very good product for those that's going to be buying our product. So all right, well, thanks a lot, and thanks for watching. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Have a good day.